I don't know if we're going. uh, I see a wheel. Wheel in the sky keeps on it. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Hey y'all, how's it going? Happy was it Friday? Oh shit. Friday afternoon. Friday, 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. It is a beautiful, hot, stinking day here in Tucson, Arizona. And I wanted to hop on a Facebook Live, say howdy to y'all, and talk to you about the anatomy of motivation today. So if you don't know me, my name is Melanie Black, and I am the owner of the Nerd Gym, currently Nerd Gym Online. Crazy COVID-19 done shut our physical location down, and we are just rolling with it, baby. And you know, it's interesting. It's been an interesting experience going into training people online. Oh, hey, Linda, what's up? And I wanted to share some ideas, some observations, because one of the things I hear over and over again over the course of the 10 years I've been doing this fitness thing, this dang fitness thing, is motivation. I want it. How do I get it? Right? It's something we've all experienced, something that we have longed for, perhaps, especially recently. I know a lot of folks who are going into have gone into lockdown, have been, you know, those of us who have been privileged enough to be able to work from home, still have an income, or those of us who have had some kind of compensation or help from our families to allow us to be at home, have said, oh yeah, you know, I'm going to be at home all day, so I'm going to do, like, I'm going to learn a new language, I'm going to start working out, I'm going to do all this cool shit, right? I'm going to enrich myself, which sounds like the perfect thing to do. And what do we end up doing? We end up like binge watching Netflix, overeating, and wondering why we're so stressed out all the time and how to get motivated again. So here's the first thing I want you to think about when it comes to motivation. Motivation is not circumstance dependent as far as like how much time you have doesn't have an impact on motivation. How much money you have does not have an impact on motivation. Necessity definitely does not have an impact on motivation. If only we got motivated every time we needed to. How lovely would that be, right? But there are some mysteries that we can rip out of that motivation puzzle for you today. We're gonna cut it open. We're gonna dissect it. We're gonna take out all the little bits and pieces, and we're gonna look at it. So, first component of motivation. We're gonna talk about three primary components of motivation. We're gonna talk about how to turn that motivation into actual action, right? So, the thing that I love about motivation. Let's talk about that first. So the thing I love about motivation, it is like rocket fuel, man. Like when you get motivated to do something, like really motivated, you are going to just blast off through the atmosphere, plow through any obstacles, like things in your way. You're just going to like smash them, right? You're just going to smash through them. So it's a great way to get started on something that requires a bunch of habit changes all at once to be really motivated. It is like rocket fuel in that it's not sustainable. It's really good at getting you through a crisis. When you are motivated during a crisis, that's really fabulous. When you are motivated in times of need. And then if you are able to, during that time, establish a way to create habits before the motivation evaporates, because it will evaporate. Yes, it is powerful. Yes, it is like rocket fuel. And no, it will not stick around all the time. Those people who you think are motivated all the time, they'll go through waves. And I'm going to tell you how they do it, right? I'm going to tell you how I do it. I'll tell you how my clients do it when they do it. So motivation has three components. First component is pain. Okay? Nobody gets motivated to do something unless they have some kind of pain, some kind of problem that they need to solve that is causing them pain. Now, sometimes we mean pain very literally, right? The thing that got me into fitness was literal physical pain. 10 years ago, when I was in my mid-20s, you know, had chronic, oh my God, more than 10 years ago, shit. Way back in the day when I was in the mid-20s. It's not been that long. What, 42 now? Yeah. So when I was in my mid-20s, I had really chronic, severe back and neck pain. Okay, really chronic, severe back and neck pain. I was also about 100 pounds overweight, but you know, I was not too concerned. Hey, Jillian, what's up? I was not too concerned at the time with appearances, right? It wasn't at the top of my mind. So I didn't have a whole lot of emotional pain tied to the fact that I was overweight at the time. But I did have literal physical pain in my back, in my neck. And I was in a circumstance at the time where I had sort of this perfect storm of not really having the, you know, the healthcare, the health insurance available to get like medication or explore surgery options, that kind of thing, and also had a very, you know, kind of natural upbringing where my parents. I'm not anti-Western medicine, okay, just to be clear, but you know, my parents are very much in favor of finding natural remedies first. So, what's up, Chad? How's it going? So, so I was in this circumstance where, like, okay, I had that first component of motivation, which is pain. Okay, pain is the first component. So in my case, it was physical pain, but also mental and emotional pain can be very strong components of motivation. They can't be the only component, though, right? Because surely you've been in pain and not been motivated to do anything about it, right? Surely you've been in pain and not done anything about it. Or maybe you felt like that partial motivation, right? Motivation but without action. That's no good. So what we're talking about really is how do we turn that motivation into action, right? It's not, it's, if it doesn't have an action attached to it, it's hollow motivation. So the first part is understanding your pain, what it is that you're actually trying to solve. And in fact, one of the things that that is really interesting, a really challenging part of my job as a personal trainer and consulting people on how to get started is finding the root cause, the real reason for why they want to get started. Sometimes we don't take the time to really explore it and get to know our own mind, right? So if somebody says to me, oh yeah, you know, I want to go ahead and get started, I'm like, cool, why do you want to get started? And one of the most common answers I get is, well, you know, I want to lose 5 or 10 pounds. I'm like, okay, why is that important to you? And we have to keep asking the question, why? And a lot of times this gets the people a little irritated with me, and I get it, okay? But here's the thing, if I don't irritate you, if I don't ask you what the real reason is for wanting to lose that 5 to 15 pounds, if we don't get to the real reason, you're not actually going to do anything to get there, right? And there is a real reason. Nobody takes the leap of talking to someone like me about 5 to 10 pounds. That's not, you know, that's not the real reason. You have to go a little bit deeper. And sometimes the reason is vanity, and your vanity is valid, and that's okay. It's okay to be vain about it. If you really want to look a certain way, that can be a powerful motivator. The cognitive dissonance that you feel between how you want to look or how you believe that your inner self should be reflected in your outer self, that separation of how we perceive ourselves and how ourselves actually present, that is real pain that people go through. So so it's not to be dismissed or dismissive of people who have vanity goals, but you have to be honest with yourself if that is the real reason. Don't be shy about it. Don't feel guilty about it. The last time I was on a Facebook Live, I was talking for an hour about guilt and how it has absolutely no place in actually taking action. In fact, guilt hinders action. So that first big component of motivation is the pain component, but it's not the only one. Find your real pain. Find the real reason, okay? Whatever your superficial reason is, be your own inner toddler and ask, yeah, but why? Why is that important to you? And why is that important to you? So for me, yeah, physical pain, chronic back and neck pain, really bad. Why was it important for me to fix it? It was important for me to fix it because I felt like a bad mom because I couldn't take care of my children. It was important for me to fix it because I didn't feel adequate at my job. I didn't feel like I could perform my duties. I felt like I was not only, you know, it wasn't as if it wasn't bad enough to be in physical discomfort. There were other social, economic, emotional reasons for me to fix my chronic pain. Okay, so even one good reason isn't the only reason. It's not the only layer to that pain. So first off, if you're trying to get motivated, take a good critical look at what pain or problem you are trying to solve. Once you have that, that's the first step in gaining clarity. Okay, so pain is the first piece of motivation. Clarity, that's the second piece, okay? So clarity is a couple of different things. Clarity is being clear on what you want for yourself. So this is where things like vision boards can actually come in handy. If you've ever made a vision board and you're like, meh, it didn't do anything, it's because vision board is one piece, one component of the exploration required to get you to motivation. Okay, so it's not the only thing, and it's not even maybe the most important thing, but it is a helpful tool among many tools that you have. So clarity, what clarity is about, it's really about taking a deep dive into thinking a future focus now. Okay, so now I've explored my pain, I know what my problem is. What do I want it to look like when this problem is solved, right? What do I want to feel like when this problem is solved? What do I want to be able to accomplish when this problem is solved? So it is, in part, future focused. The other piece of that clarity can be being really certain of what action needs to be taken to fix it, okay? So clarity is kind of a two-parter. Just like pain is a two-parter, you've got the part of pain that is your superficial reason, and then the deeper layers underneath it. When it comes to clarity, we have not only the clarity of vision of what we actually want for ourselves, but we have to have clarity and conviction about how we're going to get there, right? And this is really difficult for a lot of people, especially if what you need to do is outside of your primary expertise. So this comes into play a lot with fitness. And again, I see people feel guilty, like, oh my gosh, I feel bad that I don't know how to eat well for my goals or how to exercise correctly so I don't hurt myself. Like, again, don't feel guilty. Like, there's a reason why it's a whole separate field of study. There's a reason why there's experts on the subject. Like, I don't feel guilty for not knowing how to fix my car, but I do know people who do feel guilty about that too. Like, you can't know everything, guys. You just can't. Okay, there's plenty of people in the world to know it for you, which will tie us into our third point, which is accountability, right? So, so I'll get to accountability in a moment, but clarity, two components. The first component has to do with being certain that you have the solution. Being certain that even if you're wrong, sometimes this will still work, okay? So even if you're wrong about the solution, even if you're not totally right, even if you're partially right, taking action on something that is partially right is more effective on taking zero action on something that's 100% right, right? So that is part of it, is taking action and being certain that this is the thing that I have to do to make progress. So clarity is in part the vision of your future self, and it is in part clarity on the solution that the solution that you are going to take to solve the problem. Okay, so getting back to my personal pain, my back pain example from when I was in my mid-20s, yes, I was in pain. Yes, I knew not only that I was in pain, but I had multiple reasons beneath just the physical discomfort of pain for why I wanted to get rid of that pain. So I had my multi-levels of pain that I was aware of. I had clarity of what I wanted my future self to look like: strong, capable, tossing my kids up in the air, running with them, chasing them around the house, going to work, lifting boxes, moving shit like it was no big deal. Like, that was part of the vision I had for myself, future focus. And then I came up with a solution, and my solution at the time was exercise. And it was just that vague because I had no idea anything about exercise at the time. I didn't know cardio from strength training, from endurance training, from nutrition. It was just like, it was all one lump thing in my brain. And that was like exercise or fitness, right? This vague idea of fitness. So like a lot of people, you know, I got a membership to a gym, and then I sat on the personal a cardio equipment, you know, like a, what is it called, elliptical. I went up on the elliptical, and I would go and I would just do that because I didn't know what else to do. And I would look out on the floor at the people weight training and doing all this different stuff. And here's the thing, would cardio have gotten me to my goal? No. Sitting on the elliptical definitely would not have gotten me to my goal, right? But having clarity that that was a place to start caused me to act. And that action led to other actions. The action that I would say was the first real effective action that I took is that as I was looking out onto the weightlifting floor with all these people lifting heavy things and moving heavy things, and remember that vision of myself I had where I was lifting boxes, lifting my children. So it was like, oh, connection, lifting, this is what I need to be doing. That's what I want. I want to be like, you know, that guy right there who's like lifting 400 pounds off the floor. And that's what I want for myself. That's what I want to be. I also want to be able to run fast and run far. And I didn't know how to do that. And certainly being in physical pain and having back pain, I was terrified of, you know, I was not about to do some trial and error shit there. So that is when I invested in personal training for myself. So that brings us to our third component of motivation. And this is a hard one for people. This is a really hard one for people. Ready? Third component of motivation. You got your clarity, you got your pain. Now what? You've been sitting there with your clarity and your pain for how long and haven't done anything and wondering what's wrong with you and why can't you do it by yourself? Guess what? It's because you can't do it by yourself. That's the hard one for people. We live in a culture that really props up individuality, that really props up the, you know, the do it yourself, you know, by yourself, lone man, lone wolf kind of ideology. It doesn't actually exist for successful people, okay? Like there will always be that front man, that rock star that's like, yeah, you know, self-made man, whatever. It's a fucking myth, guys. Nobody is motivated by themselves. Now, yes, you will have people who are motivated to go to the gym by themselves. There are those people. They go to the gym on their own every day. They're working out on their own every day, or maybe in their house or whatever. And you look at them and you're like, man, how are they so motivated? The real deal is, number one, they're not motivated. It's probably habit at that point. But number two, a lot of the accountability that we feel to other people, sometimes that can happen internally, right? Sometimes we can feel accountable to other people within ourselves, and sometimes that's enough. Or sometimes that person who works out all by themselves is just a fucking psychopath and you're not, so get some help and support, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with you. If you've been sitting there with your pain and your clarity and done nothing, there's nothing wrong with you. What you need is accountability and support. Accountability and support is the key third component to motivation. That is so huge, so huge. I can't even begin to describe the transformation that I had personally. Like, so, okay, so there I was, you know, I had my pain, I had my clarity, I'm on the treadmill, I'm like, okay, I know I need to lift weights, I know I need to get strong, I know I need the fitness things. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it by myself. And if I did do it by myself, yes, I would probably have hurt myself worse, fucked up my back even worse, been set back even longer and not made it to my goals. But instead, I did the unthinkable. Well, for what for me was unthinkable at the time, because here's the thing to remember. So remember I said I couldn't afford any kind of a health care or health insurance, any of that stuff, didn't have none of that. I was taking the bus to work. I was, you know, I was cutting my kids' hair myself. I was doing my laundry in the bathtub because I didn't want to spend the money at the laundromat. Okay, I was buying, you know, I was getting like the used produce or the you know the blemished produce or whatever, and making, like, you know, gouging out the blemished spots to make applesauce. So I was like trying to do food super cheap. Like, I was cutting corners and cutting pennies everywhere. Okay, we were living paycheck to paycheck, you know, minimum wage job. Like, just, it was financially really tight. So first making the decision that I needed to exercise and investing in a gym membership was a huge deal for me. But I was like, okay, it's a cheap gym membership. Like, I can justify this. I'm going to be there every day. I'm going to do that. And then I had that realization of, oh shit, I need support though, right? Because just having the equipment available is different than having the support and the accountability to actually do the right things with it. And I was like, oh man, okay, so personal training, what does that look like? And it was fucking expensive. For me at the time, it was fucking expensive. Like, so this is a while ago, and the average going rate for personal training has gone up since then. But yeah, $60 for an hour-long session was the going rate at the time in this particular place. And I was like, God, how can I justify that, right? And my brain immediately went to guilt. I was immediately thinking about what people would say about me as a mom for spending that money on myself. I was immediately thinking about, what I could, how could I possibly like justify that expense, and all that kind of stuff. Hey, what's up, Rachel? So I was in that space of guilt and being like, oh man, there's no way I can do this. And then I did it. I got a small package, a series of sessions with this trainer, and it was the accountability that I needed to actually start seeing progress. And it was life-changing. And if I didn't invest that money in myself at that time, I wouldn't be an independent business owner now. I wouldn't be, I wouldn't have fixed my back pain. I wouldn't have had the confidence to try more things and take more risks. So motivation it can be self-perpetuating. That's the other cool thing about motivation. Once you understand how it's broken down and you can construct it for your own benefit, then you can start actually doing things with it, right? So motivation, it's like rocket fuel. It launches you through the atmosphere. It allows you to kind of get to that next level. And the three main components to motivation are pain, right? Clarity and accountability. Pain, clarity, and accountability. Those are the three main things. So your pain, like I said, you want to break that down. Not only the superficial reasons for why you want to make a change or what your problem is, but the deeper reasons, what that actually means to you personally. And this is a very personal thing. Again, don't feel guilty if you cry about it. Don't feel guilty if you feel bad about it. Even if it's something super superficial. Like I said, a lot of people, I get a lot of, again, guilt from people saying, oh man, I feel guilty, like I just want to look better. I just want to look better. But yeah, again, that cognitive dissonance we feel when our external presentation doesn't match how we feel as a person inside, really, that's legitimate. It's a legitimate source of pain. Now, should you love yourself every step of the journey and as you are right now today before you make any changes? Fuck yeah, you should. Of course you should. Absolutely. That takes practice, and that's a skill to learn all by itself. But there's nothing saying that you can't be what you want to be or get close to that. And if you're lacking the motivation, taking an honest acknowledgement of where you're at and what you want to become is the first part of that motivation, right? So acknowledging your pain, being honest with yourself. Don't worry about what anybody fucking else thinks about your pain, right? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Whatever your pain is, don't start comparing yourself to other people. Oh, well, other people have it worse. Yeah, of course they fucking do, but we're talking about you right now. Right? Forget about other people for half a second. You want to get motivated? You want to make actual change so that you can actually begin to do the things that you want to do with your life so that you can help more people out in the world? Start with yourself and take a fucking selfish moment to just sit back and be like, okay, this is my pain. This is real. These are all the reasons why it's important to me to fix this problem. Right? No matter how big the problem is or however small the problem is, why do you want this problem, right? Then we have to get to that clarity of like, what happens when you fix this problem? What does that even look like? How does that feel? Be specific, right? Like when just being like, oh yeah, I want to be stronger. That's very different than having a specific image of yourself lifting your kid up into the air and tossing them up, right? It's got a different feel to it. Saying I just want to be stronger is different than being able to reach to the top shelf, grab something, pull it down for somebody. Those things, you know, having those specific visions of what does strong look like, what does capable look like, all these kinds of things. What, you know, or like, this is why you know, a lot of times, like, people who have events like brides, they will get super motivated to get to a certain point because they can envision themselves in the dress, right? That's a very specific visual cue. Okay, now if they then put all the weight back on after they get married, that has to do with habits. And you know, today we're going to dissect what motivation is. Habits are a whole separate thing, and I'll touch on that. But it's like, the motivation is the rocket fuel, and the habits are what makes it sustainable. That's where you get to momentum. That's where you get to all that stuff, right? So pain, clarity, accountability. That's what we're talking about today with our motivation, creating motivation. So once you have that pain figured out, once you have your clarity figured out, then getting the accountability you need to succeed, right? Don't keep it a secret. Once you've decided on what you're going to do, and you have clarity not only of the future vision you have for yourself, but you have clarity on at least what you think you need to do to get started. Sometimes you can get clarity and accountability figured out all in one. This is why I do one-on-one consultations with people when I'm getting them started. And I think I actually dropped my link in the description of this video if you want a free consultation with me, because we actually go through all this process together, right? So sometimes you can get through this process a lot faster if you start with the accountability. I put it third in this model that I'm describing right now, but it's not necessarily the third thing you do. Sometimes you will have a vague awareness of your pain and very little clarity on what you need to do to get there. But if you start with the accountability with the right person, sometimes we can get through that process a lot faster. So the accountability piece, if you have like clarity of like, oh, well, I know what I want my future to look like. I know what I want to look like, but I don't know how. How do I do a fitness, or how do I do a car repair or whatever? You go to the expert for that, right? And then that's where a consultation comes in handy, because that's where you get the clarity piece of, oh, that's one way I can fix it, right? And then you can make a decision for yourself. Is that the way I want to fix it? Because that's a solution. Do I like that solution? Do I want to take action on that solution? That can give you clarity. And once you're like, yeah, I like that solution, then you move forward. But remember, whatever solution, guys, you come up with, it doesn't need to be the perfect solution, okay? I'm talking to you people who get stuck in analysis paralysis, where you start researching different solutions, different possible solutions to different problems, and they all have their different pros and cons, and you're like, oh, well, if I can only find the perfect solution, then I can get started. That's not true. You're getting stuck in that one piece of the motivation model, and what you really need is, once you find a solution, imperfect solutions are good solutions, okay? Once you find a solution, fucking run with it, man. Like, just go, you know? Or if you have a gut feeling like, I think this is gonna work, just go. And you know what? You might find out halfway through that it doesn't work. But here's the magic of motivation. If we have our pain, we have our clarity, and we have our accountability and support, and we start snowballing, and we start going and going and going, and then we hit a roadblock, like, oh, that solution that I started to think was the thing isn't actually the thing, you will have so much momentum behind you because of your clarity, because of your pain, because of your accountability and the people supporting you, that you're going to smash through that barrier and find a different solution as you go. So don't get stuck on the perfect solution. Just try to point yourself in a direction where you might have access to solutions, and start with one good one, okay? So that is super important. So you have that pain, that clarity, and then you have your accountability and support. Who in your life is going to tell you to actually do this? Okay? When you don't feel like you can do it on your own, what am I saying? When? We never do. okay? Be real with you right now. Again, we have this mythos in our culture that people can just kind of do this shit on their own, that they're like internally motivated, that like all these rock stars, superstars, actors, you know, all these people that we hold up on a pedestal of being these solo professionals, business people, none of them have done it on their own, even if they say that they do, because again, it's a popular mythos, right? It makes them look cool. Oh, wow, they did it all on their own, self-made man. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. Everybody who is successful does it with support, and they do it with accountability. Do not be afraid to look for support and accountability. What was it, Ford, who said something like, I don't know the answers, but I know somebody who does, or something like that, where you just call people. Like, you need people who are really good at accelerating themselves up to the top of their profession, to the top of their field. They're really good at just realizing they know nothing and asking for the answers to help them up, right? Or having somebody else fix it for them. If you get to a point where you're financially secure enough where you can just pay people to fix shit for you, you can just fix your way up to the top, right? You need support and accountability for whatever it is that you're going to do. If you want motivation, you need support and accountability. If you want motivation, you need support and accountability as part of that, okay? You need your pain, you need your clarity, and you need account and supportability. It does not make you weak. It does not make you less of a person. And I am saying it over and over again because I hear it over and over again from people. They are ashamed. So many people are so fucking ashamed and so fucking guilty that, oh, I don't have this internal wellspring of motivation. It's a myth, guys. That is not how motivation works. Motivation works because you have the pain, you have the clarity, and you have somebody saying, you can do this, you should do this, and you will do this. Okay, so I was really, really lucky. I didn't mention one key aspect of my accountability and my support. When I was getting started, I had one person in my life, and fortunately they were my best friend and my husband at the time, saying, yeah, you should spend money on yourself. Okay, so that was a key component of it. So I had the support and the accountability of my personal trainer, who was helping me through every step of the process. I had one other person in my life, and it could have been anybody, frankly. It could have been anybody. I know not everyone is as lucky as I am to be married to someone who is supportive. Maybe you are in an unsupportive relationship, and that sucks. But you have one supportive friend out there. You have one supportive family member out there. You have one person in your life telling you, you can fucking do this. And you deserve to do this for yourself. And if you don't have that person, you find them, right? Because you have to have support and accountability as part of your motivation for action. Once you have those three components, pain, clarity, and accountability, support, okay? Pain, clarity, support, pain, clarity, support. Once you have those three things, then action. Action happens, motivation happens, and you can get started, and you can bust through a lot of obstacles, and you can open up your world and expand your world and actually become that future self that you have envisioned, okay? That is the key to motivation. You want motivation? That's how you do it. That's how you unlock it. It is those three components, and it is that simple, but not easy, okay? I'm not saying it's easy, guys, but it is that simple. Those are the three components. I've spent the past 10 years of my life dedicated to this process, dedicated to finding people, helping people, and creating this process and demonstrating it, doing it myself, right? Because that's the big thing that people always come, oh, I'm so not motivated to fitness, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but it's with everything, right? So maybe you're listening to this and you're thinking about all fitness stuff as I'm going, which is understandable, because if you've liked the Nerd Gym on Facebook, you probably have been interested in our programs, or you're part of our programs, and that's awesome. Maybe you're thinking about this in terms of starting a business. Maybe fucking COVID-19 robbed your ass and it smashed your livelihood. It did to mine, okay? Or it would have if it wasn't for the fact that I know how to tap into motivation. So most recently, I had to shut down the physical location of my gym. Now, we were not exactly making bank to begin with, so I couldn't weather, you know, a couple of months of being closed and then reopening again. Just was not going to happen. And I had the option of either, you know, laying off my entire staff and selling off some equipment and holding on to the building and kind of seeing what happened, or I had the option of canceling my lease, selling off the equipment, and holding on to the staff. And I was like, you know what? Hold on to the staff, and we're going to do something new. And I had to go through this motivation process very quickly to get the Nerd Gym online launched, and fast. And I'm so glad I did. So basically, what my pain was, of course, that I couldn't actually engage in my livelihood, that I was financially ruined. You know, the pain was multi-layered, financial, and it had a lot to do with my pride too. I was very proud of the physical location of my gym, so it was very difficult to make the decision in some ways there. But the thing that I knew for sure, for certain, is that even with that pain, I was not going to let go of the one thing that would get us to the next level, the one thing that would allow us to continue, which was the accountability. Who's my accountability? My staff, guys. Okay, Coach Isa, Coach Antonio, Coach Casey. They are my accountability. They are the people I am accountable to create a business that is successful, to allow us to keep helping people. And knowing that that was a major component of motivation to essentially start a brand new business, they were the thing that I was like, okay, they are number one. I'm going to hold on to them first. I'm going to hold on to as many of as our clients as will follow us. Those people are the people I am accountable to for creating something fantastic that the world actually needs, right? A lot of times people think of business owners as being kind of like, you know, money hungry, greedy people, that kind of stuff. But I got into business because I am actually passionate about what I do. I deeply believe in it. I'm, you know, practically like a religious zealot about it more than I am a business person, which does bite me in the ass financially sometimes, because I do speak my mind about certain things with the fitness industry that I don't agree with, but that's a story for another time. Essentially what I'm saying is, whether you are listening to this video because you need motivation to start a fitness thing, or maybe you need motivation to start a new business adventure, again, you want to go back to pain, accountability, clarity. Pain, accountability, clarity. How are you going to get those three things? Where are they coming from? And real people have to be, people who you care about have to be involved in your accountability, and people who care about you, right? And or people who care about you. So you have people in your life who you care about, who you want to take better care of. I guarantee whatever you're trying to do for yourself right now, with your motivation, whether that's financial or physical or spiritual or whatever it is, whatever you're trying to motivate yourself to do right now, it will benefit the people that you love. It will. They want to see you succeed. They want to see you happy, and you will be able to better help others once you are able to help yourself. So let go of any guilt that you have, and just get into it, man. Just go. But be real with yourself. Be ready to cry. Be ready to cry about your pain, okay? And don't feel guilty if your pain is not as painful as other people's pain, okay? It's all right. It's all right. It really is. You're not going to get to the next level without that emotion, okay? That's a powerful emotion, and you're going to use that. That's part of your rocket fuel for motivation, okay? Motivation is it ain't cheap, right? It comes at an emotional expense. It is like rocket fuel in a lot of ways. It's incredibly powerful. It's incredibly potent, and it helps get you to act. It helps get you started. And yeah, so pain, clarity, accountability. If you are thinking about fitness things, if you're watching this and you're like, no, I literally, like, I'm physically, like, I want more, right? Physically, I want more. And you are not already a member of the Nerd Gym, go ahead and click on that link for a 15-minute consultation with me. Or if you are a member of the Nerd Gym and we haven't talked in a while, just click on that too, because hey, I love talking to y'all. just click on that and set up a time to do a 15-minute Zoom call with me. We are going to be launching our mega motivation challenge at the Nerd Gym, which is personal training, which is awesome. But yeah, if you don't have that support, it's so important, no matter what you're looking to be able to do. So if it is a fitness thing, I'll hook you up, talk to me, no pressure. We will go through the process. We'll see if it's a good fit, all that good stuff. Next time I get up on the Facebook Lives, I'm going to be talking about habits, because yeah, motivation, fucking kick ass, baby. Motivation is the thing that's going to get you started. Habits are going to be the thing that keep you going, though. Okay, so motivation gets you started. Motivation's great. Motivation can last, depending on how much support and accountability you have, maybe as much as 12 weeks, but that's really pushing it. A good strong boost of motivation that burns out in like 3 to 6 weeks, basically, right? So yeah, expect to be highly motivated for 3 to 6 weeks once you're able to tap into all those things. If you need help tapping into all those things, I'm here for you. And then after that, or not after that, during the end of that motivation cycle, you have to get into place your habits so that you keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Bust out of the gravity of your problems, bust through the atmosphere of your problems into outer space, where the momentum of your habits will just carry you on all the way up, all the way up. All right. All right, y'all. I hope you have an awesome day. I'll talk to you later. I'll put up a new Facebook Live for the habits, and we'll talk all about the habits. Okay, cool. Have a good day. Bye-bye.